You're listening to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast, episode 73.
Welcome to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast, where positivity and spirituality create an enhanced life's journey with the wisdom of Ifa and Orisha. I am your host, Omileti Olubunmi.
Welcome to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. I am Omileti Olubunmi. Thank you for spending some of your time with me to talk about all things Orisha, spirituality, and growth. So turn up the volume in your car, put on your earbuds. Actually, put on your earbuds. This is actually going to be a good one. And if you're in a car, this is going to be a really, really good one. Grab something good to drink. We are going to be chatting on this one. This episode is being brought to you by your virtual Ile, and it is so new. We're currently looking for its founding members. If you're looking for a spiritual home and don't have one just yet, and you want to be part of something right now, make your virtual Ile your home until you find your physical spiritual home. For the deets, go to orishawisdom.com/Omileti. Click on the image that says your virtual Ile and come home to your community. With that, let's get this episode going. This is an Ask a Priest episode. For those of you who are new to the podcast, first of all, welcome. This is a series that we have where you, the community, gets to write in your questions, your concerns, stuff like that, and things that you've always wanted to ask to an Orisha priest. And now you have the chance. I will put it on the show notes, but of course, if you want to ask a burning question right now and pause it, go to orishawisdom.com/ask a priest. Let's get to today's, it's a question, but let's just get to it. Lett asks, Alafia, when I listen to people talk about Orisha and they mispronounce the names of the Orisha repeatedly, it irks, he put that in caps, irks my soul. Can you go into the importance of the names of the Orisha and the importance of learning the language to further our traditions? Many thanks. Thank you for writing to us, Mike. And, why not? This is me. Sorry, I'm adjusting the mic so that I could talk to you a little better. This is a topic that a lot of people don't even talk about, but they try to pronounce stuff. They do their best, and we tell them, well, that's not exactly how you say that. It's a thought that counts, right? The Yoruba believe in something that's called the power of the word. We have talked about this a lot in the podcast, and it's something called ofo ashe, the power of the word. The way that you pronounce things is important because it will hold power. The way that you emphasize on the sounds are important. I don't have this in my notes, but it just came to me. I remember when I was learning the Mojuba, and the Mojuba is a prayer that basically every priest should know. And I had to learn it. It was so imperative that I pronounce things correctly. So anybody can go online right now, and anybody, and I mean anybody, you can go and get the Mojuba prayer. The challenge, by the way, I might add here is that Mojuba prayers change from house to house. So I may have a version of the Mojuba prayer. You have a version in your house of your Mojuba prayer. Neither is wrong. It just has to do with the lineage of said prayer, basically. And I was asked to learn it. I remember there are some words that sometimes I stumble and they're like, you have to pronounce them correctly. And I'm like, like I'm learning it. But the truth was that every word had to be pronounced correctly. You are using the power that now you have as a priest. This is what I was told. And you are calling things. And I don't know where I heard this. I don't know if it's in my house or somewhere. Like, what is it that you want to call? You want to call a frog? Because that's what's going to happen. You're going to call something else because you're going to be pronouncing something else. So the importance of the pronunciation is big because it is. And this is a podcast episode, and I'm hoping that it's not going to be mega long. And we're going to have some fun with this one. All right, let me just go to the notes because I want to get into it, but I want to go based on the order of what I have. I am going to put on the show notes for this one a particular link. I'm going to warn you, this link does not sound does not have the greatest sound, but you will understand what I'm trying to say. In Nigeria, the same word can be used, same word, to have different meanings just by the changing of the sound. And then if you get it wrong, you will look ridiculous. So for this one, we are going to take a look at one word, oko. And he's like, oh, this is the word of the day. And I was very intrigued because I was looking to try to show an example. And this is the best example that I could find. This guy tells you this word means different things depending on how you pronounce it. So you could be saying, this is a farm. This could be a husband or a penis. And imagine you're talking about your husband to somebody and like, hey, you tell somebody that they need to meet your penis. When it was to meet my husband, it's going to be embarrassing, right? Same here. So I thought it would be like a funny way of explaining it, but so that you understand. Before we go, we have touched a bit on this. We're going to talk about the importance of a name. The Yoruba believe that each name has power, especially if the name was given after divination. This comes with the ire for that person. That name marks something important that is tied with that person's destiny. A name is a profound meaning. And I wrote literally in my notes, it says, I've spoken of my names in Yoruba. And I'll tell you real quick because I've spoken about this before. When I made Ocha, it was time to divine for my name. And, the elders all had their list of names, and my godmother had dibs as well, of course, and she won. Her name was it. It was just no longer. And I just did not want that name. Like, oh, Omileti, that's like ill. Like, no. And that's how I felt. And it's Yemaya answers my prayers. Now, what's most important is that every time that name is said, it will put the energy out into the world that Yemaya will answer my prayers. That is powerful, that my Orisha will listen and answer my prayers, which is why you want to make sure that you pronounce things appropriately and you pronounce the names often. Imagine that now we're talking about the power of Orisha. It's like we're seeking the love, the protection, and the good fortune of these entities, these energies. And out of respect, we must take the time to know at least how to pronounce their names. If we're going to want to work with these powerful energies, it might be a good idea to learn their names and how they are pronounced. Out of respect, out of love, out of wonder, and to honor them. This episode is going to be a little fun one. This is something we've never done before. And we're going to pronounce some of these Orisha names so that we kind of have a little practice, like a little practice board. And we're going to do them in both English and Spanish. They're not in a particular order. I may have missed a few, But you know what? Let's do these together. I think that I'm going to say it once, and then we're going to repeat together. And then just for the fun of it, we're going to do it in Spanish because, well, just because. So remember, we're going to do a little bit of vocabulary enunciation. Okay, so remember when I said this is going to be a good one to put in your car and to put in your earbuds? So we are going to go. So I wrote a list of some of these names so that Mr. Lett, who asked this question, will be happy that it's being now pronounced correctly. And if anybody irks him again, he can point listen to episode 73 and go learn how it's pronounced. All right, so we're going to start, okay? And let's see. Oh, maybe we should do some music, right? Might as well, because now I got buttons that I can press. All right, everybody. The Orisha Wisdom Podcast is going to hold its first vocabulary pronunciation session. Ready? I have the button. I had to use it. Okay, we're going to start. I'm going to pronounce it once. Then we're going to do it again. And then we'll do it in Spanish. And you could pronounce it. Ready? Olodumare. Olodumare. In Spanish, it's easy. Olodumare. English, now we have Olofi. I find that when I hear the Yoruba say, they really emphasize on those O's like Olofi. Olofi. And in Spanish, it's easy. Olofi. Elegba. Elegba. Here's another one for you. Elegbara. And if you hear Africans, they'll say elegbara. Elegbara. In Spanish, elegua. I've heard in Spanish elegba also, but it's usually elegua. Eshu. Eshu. In Spanish, eshu. Eshu. Ogun. Ogun. In Spanish, Ogun. Ochosi. Ochosi. Spanish is very much the same. Ochosi. It's just the OSI is pronounced a little bit differently. Ochosi. Obatala. Obatala. In Spanish, it's the same pronunciation, just you'll see where the emphasis is. Obatala. Obatala. Jemonja. Jemonja. In English, I have heard this to also be said yemaya. Like it kind of yemaya. Spanish is easy. Yemaja. I've also heard it pronounced yemaya or yemaya, but you can tell yemaya. Olokun. Olokun. In Spanish, you're going to hear it two ways. Olokun or olokun, like the emphasis on the U. Either which way, I think is acceptable. Osain. 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 In Spanish, osain. Osain. Orisha oko. Orisha oko. In Spanish, Orisha oko. The S turns into a ch. Orisha oko. Inle. Inle. In Spanish, it's the same thing. Inle. It's just there's not that much emphasis on the, like it's softer. I think it's inle. Oya. olla. In Spanish. Now, this is interesting because the Y, it's usually like a ja or ja, but people don't usually say that. They still say in Spanish, olla. Aganyu. Aganyu. In English, I have also heard this as agayu. But normally there's an N that's supposed to be there. Aganyu. In Spanish, agayu. I never heard the N being pronounced. Agayu. Shango. Shango. And in Spanish, chango. So the sh turns into a ch. Ibeji. Ibeji. In Spanish, ibeji. Now you will hear some people say los ibejis because it's two. Another term for it, which I didn't write down that you will hear, is los imaguas. Imaguas is a Spanish term for twins. But the correct Orisha name is Ibeji. Or in Spanish, los Ibejis. Oshun. Oshun. And in Spanish, Ochun. Again, remember the SH turns into a CH. Ochun. Yewa. Yewa. In Spanish, I've heard the two pronunciations. Yewa is the most common one, jewa. But I have heard yewa. So either of those is acceptable. Oba. Oba. And in Spanish, it's just a little softer on the O. Oba. And it's more on the A. Oba. Iyami. Iyami. In Spanish, ijami. Ijami. Orumila. Orumila. Same in Spanish. It's just the O doesn't have that much focus. Orumila. Another word, another name for orumila would be orunla. Orunla. So I've heard orunla, which is still fine. Orunla. And in Spanish, you will hear orula. Like the N for some reason disappears in the pronunciation, orula, and you'll hear that. Here are some others that are not Orisha names, but something that you should please learn how to pronounce. Ori. Ori. In Spanish, ori. The R rolls. Ori. Egun. Egun. In Spanish, egun is very much the same thing. Here's another one. Egungun. The Yoruba, I love when they pronounce this because it's egungun. Like almost like the N kind of like gets in your throat. Egungun. I like it. And in Spanish, egungun. Very phonetic. Here's another one. Cariocha. Cariocha. Here's in Spanish, cariocha. Very straightforward. You're going to hear osha. But I will tell you this. No matter what, they usually say ocha, and it's correct. Ocha. And in Spanish, ocha. Like it's the mouth will go a little wider when it comes to the A. So ocha. And that's correct. Now, here are two words that you're going to hear. Please pronounce them good. IRKS. There's two ways of getting them in Spanish. So here's the English. IRKS. Spanish. IRKS. That's one. IRKS. But the most commonly known one would be IRKS. Because it's S, because you're getting more than one. Or if you're talking about one, you say eleke or el ileke. So no S. Here's another one that drives me absolutely bonkers. Ebo. Not Ebo, because Ebo is something else. Ebo. And in Spanish, ebo. Here's another one. Yawo. Yawo. And in Spanish, I'm going to give you two pronunciations that you will hear. Yawo or yabo. The Cubans will a lot of the time say either yawo or yabo. I've also heard a yabo, like the Y, kind of like el yabo fue para la marqueta. Like the yabo went to the market. El yabo fue para la marqueta. And that's okay if you're speaking in Spanish. So that is it for the first Orisha Wisdom Pronunciation Words class. Oh, I'm going to give you one that's not here, but oh my God, people butcher it so much that I'm going to give it to you. It's babalawo. Babalawo. In Spanish, babalawo still works, but most people will say babalao. Like the W kind of disappears. Babalao. And that is acceptable. So I'm going to go see my babalao. That's acceptable. Okay. Something that I was told many moons ago, the sweetest name that you will ever hear is your own. So learn these names so that you can let them hear the sweet sounds of their names and enjoy your journey with these energies. It is important to get to know the language of the tradition that you're committing to being part of. It is terrible when folks butcher the pronunciation, as now there is so much information out there on this topic. I know that I have butchered pronunciations out there, so not doing this to be mean or to point the finger, but I think this is good. It's good that we all know how to do this. And it's good to ask folks to get to know the traditions more. I hope that you had fun with this podcast episode. I made it short enough to go back to and practice some more so that you could just get better. Did you like it? Would you like another one like this? What words or names would you like? Make sure you let me know. I want to thank Mike Lett for writing this question. I had a lot of fun making this episode because, we need it. And thank you so much. You've reached the end of this episode. For show notes, go to www.orishawisdom.com/73, the numbers 73. This episode was brought to you by your virtual Ile. Right now, we are looking for its founding members, and I'm only looking for 27 of them. Thank you so much for all of you who have already jumped in. As a founding member, you will have a say as to how this community is built, and there will be monthly community times where you will be able to join in and learn together. To find out more details, go to orishawisdom.com/Ija Omileti and click on the tile that says your virtual Ile. If that resonates with you, I will see you at your virtual Ile. I wanted to remind you that Orisha swag is here. Everybody was all interested. They're like, yeah, I want to wear that t-shirt. I want that mug. And I'd love this on a shirt. Well, guess what? It is here. Go to orishawisdom.com/Ija Omileti and go get yours. One of my current favorites, as I said before, because I really like it, is hold on. Let me call my babalao, because it's classic. It's like, yeah, before I make a choice, let me go do that. And here it is. Go and get yours. I wanted to let you know also that this is an Ask a Priest episode. And if you've ever had a question that you have always wanted to ask an Orisha priest, go ahead, go to orishawisdom.com/ask a priest, no dashes, and ask your question. And we will let you know if it gets chosen to be answered here on the podcast. Have you found value in what I do and the content that I create? Check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/Ija Omileti, and you will have access to the podcasts before they are published. and other perks, such as exclusive content, which we have had, and they are not heard anywhere. Not even my email community has access to that content. Plus, you will get kudos here on the podcast for the world to hear. Only if you're able to, and of course, if you want to. So come and support the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. I can't wait to see you there. And I thank you in advance for your support, as it will truly help this podcast with the costs so that I can create more content. Patreon.com/Omileti. If you've also liked this episode and you found it that it was like, man, this is so great, I love it, share it. Share it so that someone else can get something out of it. And I would be so grateful if you have a couple of minutes, hop on over to iTunes, leave our podcast a review. I read each and every one of them, and they truly give me the fuel to keep going and to creating more content for your spiritual journeys. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you who have taken the time to leave your comments, to write, to share your support. It means the world to me. And of course, as you know, this podcast is also on YouTube. Like the episode, subscribe, and click on the little bell icon so that you will be the first to know when there is a new video coming. Stay tuned for the next couple of episodes where we are going to go through more of the Ask a Priest questions, because when I was taking a look at, I'm like, oh my God, there's a lot of questions in there. So I want to dig in there. I can't wait. Until next time, may the elevated ancestors and all Orisha bless you immensely. Odabo.
Thank you for listening to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes at orishawisdom.com/podcast. Can't get enough of Orisha Wisdom? Check us out at orishawisdom.com and subscribe to our community. Remember, the wisdom of Ifa and Orisha is all around us. Be blessed, and until next time.